All right, so what am I doing? So here's what we are working on today. We have gotten a lot of questions sometimes on, hey, where are the good markets that I should potentially explore for affordable housing rentals? I'm just trying to market to make sure that I'm getting the right areas here. So what we have done is I've had my team go in and try to figure out what zip codes, now that the 2024 numbers have been updated, what does that look like? What other zip codes are there? So last year I did some preliminary research where I put together some zip codes, and what I then did was I looked at all these different zip codes, what the FMRs were, which meant like what are the fair market rents, and then I looked at what was the sales price and the school ratings here, so you guys can have it all in one place. And I specifically looked at the three-bedroom rent divided by the average median sales price, and I try to look for at least 0.5%, if not a little bit greater. And I thought this would be a good way for you guys to figure out whether or not these areas might have a chance for a cash flowing long term rental. So, what you see here is a list of all the zip codes in North Carolina. I haven't checked this yet, so once it gets checked, I am going to release this on our Facebook group. So I just started a Facebook group. It's called Affordable Housing and Real Estate Investing, just like our podcast. And if you DM me your email on Instagram, I will send you an invite link to the Facebook group where I'm going to share these zip codes and all this research. Again, I paid for my team's time just to kind of do this research. But what I want to do is I'm going to release this probably one state at a time. I'll probably start with Alabama because I had the least amount of zip codes. And what you're going to be able to find is the updated 2024 fair market rents. And then you're going to be able to see what the crime index scores are. We've had a recent guest saying he tries to stay under 400. If you guys ever want to look at Top Hat, you can potentially look there to see whether or not the neighborhood that you live in, what's the crime score there. And if you feel like you're living in a pretty relatively safe neighborhood, then maybe that could be your benchmark, right? So I'm looking for under 400 right now, and I'm going to be comparing our median sales prices against the rents for three-bedroom property. So what I'm going to do is simply go through here and try to figure out where my highest sort of zip codes with the renters, and I am going to share this with all of you. And I kind of just did a very rough one, but this is at least a guiding principle. This is not investment advice by any means. I'm simply just trying to tell you, like, hey, from a macro level, how do I look at this? And I'm only looking at areas where the median sales price or the rent divided median sales price has a pretty high ratio. Now, this one is like 1%, right? Really, really high. I'm going to want to take a quick look at this and wonder why. Now, this is probably why. The crime score is 1,053. You don't want to make a generalization about the zip code, but it could be skewed. It could be a street by street. But at the initial sense, this isn't a very exciting crime score because it's so high when the national average is only 100. So I might look at it, but I might also not try to invest there because I probably am not going to be the only person that thinks like, hey, this area might be bad. So this is a very lower crime score, 260.62. Maybe this is a better neighborhood, so my chances of cash flowing, especially if it's a creative finance deal, is a little bit higher. So 0.72. I'm just highlighting all the areas where it's greater than 0.5. It looks like all these properties are. All the other zip codes does not appear to be relatively, doesn't make sense because especially you think about it, right? A three-bedroom probably went for 2,400 and your property price is around 379. That might not make any sense. But again, if you want access to this If you want access to these zip codes, I just make sure you DM me your email on Instagram at investwithkenthe. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/kenthe. Now, I just went through Alabama. I just got to do some quick checks. What I'll do is I'll also release St. Louis, which is the market I was looking at. I got North Carolina, South Carolina, and also some of the cities and zip codes in Florida. And I think my team members are still working on this right now because it looks like they're still updating. Yeah, they're still going through everything. So what she's going through every single zip code right now is looking at zip code, pulling the crime index numbers, going through Redfin, getting the immune status program. I am saving you guys at least if not more than that, at least 40 to 50 hours of work, because this is piggybacking off of work that we did last year when we looked at all the zip codes for potentially cash flowing affordable housing rental markets. And so please make sure if this you think this is helpful, just make sure you DM me your email at investwithkenthe on Instagram. And what I'll also do is invite you to our free Facebook group. And my goal here is to create the largest affordable housing investment community in the world. I know this is going to be hard, but I listened to a podcast yesterday with Dean Graziosi and Jesse Itzler, and they were always like, what did you expect? This stuff is supposed to be hard. So this is all going to be really good details, and I want to provide you guys with a massive, massive amount of value, saving you a ton of time, just so that you can understand how I look at it. Obviously, this is not investmentized. This is not a solicitation for investment at any point. I am simply sharing with you what I'm doing in my time and how I'm thinking about approaching it. If you have better ideas on how to look for a cash flow market in a decent to above average neighborhood, then please let me know. Again, you can kind of see some of these crime scores here are pretty good. Median sales price is 160, so there could be some chances of a high cash flow opportunities here in the zip code, given how high these ratios are when you divide the 3-bedroom rent divided by the median price. Now, just remember, just because this is the FMR, does not mean that that is the rent that you will get for sure. There is no guarantees about that. So we'll just have to try and figure out whether or not we can see any opportunities in there. So hopefully this was helpful. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at investwithkenthe if you want more information related to affordable housing. And don't forget to check out a podcast where our goal is to bring on folks that are currently investing in affordable housing and are successful at doing it, where they will share all the stories, all of their mistakes, so that you guys can learn from their mistakes and hopefully prevent that from happening in your business and in your investment journey. This is, I think, our way of trying to remove fear from the equation. I think there is a ton of opportunity here in affordable housing where you guys can really do good while doing good. So DM me if you guys find this helpful, and don't forget to join our free Facebook group, Affordable Housing and Real Estate Investing. Thank you, and we're out. Have a great night, everybody.